Ron DeSantis joined the White House race and was tripped up by a chaotic Twitter launch. Florida governor had big plans to launch his presidential bid on Twitter Spaces with Elon Musk. And to say things didn't go as planned is an understatement. Twitter broke. The sound repeatedly dropped out, and his opponents, Republican and Democratic alike, were quick to jump on the bandwagon to take jabs. Joining me on the morning show, Daniel Cronrath, a political science professor with FSCJ. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Bruce.
So this is a campaign predicated on DeSantis' executive competence. What impact will this inauspicious start have?
Well, that's to be determined, Bruce. I guess we're going to be testing the theory, really, in the governor's campaign of any press being good press. We know that it got off to a rocky start through the technology. I myself thought I was doing something wrong when I tried to log on to watch it. And then, of course, we know I think it took something like 20 or 25 minutes for the event to actually begin. If the event had gone off perfectly, I think one of the interesting choices is, rather than doing the traditional or the conventional rally where you would have had hundreds or maybe thousands of supporters gather in a place here in Florida, demonstrating a kind of organic support for the governor, which, by the way, based on his last statewide election, he has, winning handily by 20%. He instead decided to go with a medium that, really, only 20% of Americans actually use. Typically when you look at elections, the one guaranteed voting block in the United States is Americans who are older, who are also the one demo who use Twitter less than any part of the electorate. So there were a lot of curious choices there, even really if the event had gone off smoothly for him.
So DeSantis' entrance into the race immediately sets up a direct confrontation with former President Trump, who wasted no time in taking advantage of what happened. Is he going to use this to his advantage long term?
Oh, for certain. One of the biggest challenges the governor has, and this has been kind of widely reported, is that he has this challenge of trying to woo away Donald Trump supporters. Most polls indicate that the former president is still the most popular character within the party, and yet they're really going after the same kind of slice of the Republican Party. Enter in the fact that there's so many other candidates who are now entering the race, and it really becomes kind of a high-stakes game for the governor. How can you get Trump supporters to come over to show them that you are the new Donald Trump, if you will, Trump 2.0, if you will, without alienating those same voters who are still loyal to the former president? So at the end of the day, Governor DeSantis is going to have to take the gloves off. He's going to have to get a little bit more pointed in his attacks on President Trump. Certainly there is room there to go after President Trump, but how does he walk that fine line, Bruce, and try to establish his own credibility while being respectful to the man who is still arguably the head of the Republican Party?
Curiously, he didn't mention Trump's name once last night. Now, despite his lengthy resume, friends and foes alike say that DeSantis struggles to display the campaign trail charisma and quick on your feet thinking that often defines successful candidates at the national level. He's going to have to change his personality, according to some.
Well, this is going to be something which is also learned. Not every candidate, regardless of if you're a governor, or if you're a big city mayor, or if you've been in the United States Senate, when you get onto that stage and you're running for president of the United States as a serious contender, as Governor DeSantis is, there is going to be a transition regardless of how educated you are, regardless of how prepared you are. Certainly the governor has the resume to run for president of the United States, but it's a stage which, you don't know how you're going to handle that stage, Bruce, until you're on it. And now Governor DeSantis is getting on the stage. His ability to be able to tact, his ability to be able to appeal to a national electorate, which is bigger and broader than the state of Florida, the governor's ability to be able to go on more media outlets rather than the safe confines of, say, Newsmax or Fox News, where he's been comfortable for a long time. This isn't to say the governor does not have the ability to do this. Certainly he's grown in his role as governor. He's become more comfortable in doing media interviews in Florida. But you're going from an electorate now, Bruce, of 21 million people to 330+ million people. How will he be able to do that? And will he be able to get comfortable enough on the fly during this campaign to appeal to enough Republican primary voters to, again, woo those voters away from Donald Trump?
Let me pick up on that, because there's no doubt that he's a political heavyweight here in Florida, but even his allies say not so much nationwide, and he's got to grow that national base.
Sure. I mean, there's other things that he could do there, limiting his exposure, picking the correct venues in which he can shine, putting together town hall forums in which, you could have a group of 20 or 25 people come together, that, you could essentially rehearse that and you could choreograph that in a way which would make the governor look more appealing to individuals. Again, this is just going to be, not every candidate can woo a crowd. You're going against somebody in Donald Trump, somebody who's perhaps one of his biggest claims to fame for most Americans was being a reality television show host. You know, trying to overcome that natural charisma that Donald Trump. It may, the governor's best approach may be not to invite comparisons at all. Run on his policies. In a Republican primary, run on what he's done for Florida with that particular group of voters. That may be his better strategy, rather than trying to get into comparisons of, oh, I'm less likable, I'm more likable than the former president. Again, because that's a really quick way for any of these candidates who are running for president to lose.
So the fact is that most primary voters really don't know him well, which is why he's going to start stumping almost right away. Appreciate you being here.
Oh, thanks, Bruce.